Brother lads, welcome back to Cossy podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. We're going to be diving into that analysis of Arsenal 5-0 Major League Soccer All-Stars, captained and, of course, led by wide Mark Rooney. Mikel Arteta came out on top. Now, it's a game where I thought Arsenal really played very well. It's a game where I thought our quality was really established, especially in the second half when we saw Rice, Havertz and Timber playing in the same team. Odegaard also came onto the pitch and the quality was absolutely exacerbated. The big question for me in the comment box for you: how did Rice perform out of 10? How did Kai Havertz perform out of 10? Boy, oh boy, he needed that goal. And how did Julian Timber perform in that game as well for you? Because I think I've seen it online. I've seen it on Twitter. I've seen it on WhatsApp. Timber was the best player. Timber was the best signing in terms of impressing, in terms of confidence, in terms of fitting into the system, and in terms of performing to the expectations of the fans. Julian Timber was much better as compared to Rice and as compared to Kai Havertz. But I think what we saw with Declan Rice is that kind of stabilization, that kind of momentum, that kind of player that is straight away willing to lead. It's one thing I've seen with so many players over the years, and Declan Rice has got that. His presence on the pitch absolutely means so much to the team. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as we dive into the things and lessons we learned from Arsenal 5, the Major League Soccer All-Stars now. Now, first and foremost, I think the big lesson there is Kai Havertz is getting his confidence back. He needed that goal. And probably it wasn't the goal. Look, I don't think the goal actually brings the confidence. It's the nature of the goal. It is the way he exploits the space, the way he controls the ball, and the finish is class. The finish is absolutely top class. So, and I've said this before when we signed him, as Arsenal fans still to divides upon themselves: is he a good signing? Is a bad signing? One of the things we're gonna see with Kai Havertz is he will take time to come around. It will take him some time to come around. Why? He has spent 3 years at Chelsea doing a lot of nonsense with a club that has done a lot of nonsense for the last 3 years. Actually, to be honest, Chelsea have not competed for the Premier League or come anywhere close to competing for the Premier League in the last 8 years or in the last 7 years. And Chelsea have been the most disorganized establishment in London, poorly run, and the new owners have actually run it as poorly as you can imagine. So in my opinion, Kai Havertz is not to blame for all the things that happened to him at Chelsea. Yes, probably as a player he's not worked good enough, but we've seen him at Arsenal, right? That confidence, that momentum is not yet there, but he's a player that is trying. He's absolutely trying. He's trying to lift himself. He's trying to investigate that space. He's trying to run into those spaces. At least the few qualities that still live with him, according to the education he got from Leverkusen. One, you're always going to be in space to receive the ball. That is one thing we've seen with him. He doesn't hide away from the ball. He's not a Scott McTominay kind of guy. He always runs towards the ball and will always run towards space. He's a very good investigator of space, just like we saw that goal. The cross that comes in, the defender is not even aware that Kai Havertz is beneath him and actually underneath him. And when he gets that ball, just think about the way he controls it, the way he just sits down, and the finish, the power, the precision. And whatever he does it under 5 seconds. Now that is a quality of a good player. There will be things that we will criticize about him, probably the pressing, and I think with the pressing, it will be much about Declan Rice, covering for him, and Martin Odegaard. There will be things about his finishing up, his finishing probably. I think you've seen that clip where he was trying to control the ball and then finish, right? That challenge where, he didn't score any goal in 30. But I tell you what, he scored a very similar kind of goal with defenders on the pitch and with competition, on the pitch as well. So that shows you that there is quality in Kai Havertz. There is a reason as to why we've signed him. It is just going to take some time for him to come around. And of course, we don't have a problem, because even if he doesn't come around this season, Emil Smith-Rowe has been absolutely lighting it up at the Euros, under 21 Euros. So we have cover in that area. So I think Kai Havertz, if he can build upon that goal, if he can build upon the confidence he gets from that moment, Arsenal will actually benefit much more. Secondly, Timber is a possession monster. Now, we've looked at some position players at Arsenal. That is how we play. That is how Arsenal operate. We love having the ball. We love having players that are comfortable on the ball, that are very comfortable in possession, comfortable in tight spaces, and comfortable in spaces where you need to anticipate where the ball is gonna come. Julian Timber is a monster. When he came onto the pitch, I expected a normal performance. I expected a player who's just coming into the system. He's not played any games with Arsenal, so it would be okay, and I would be very, very fine if he came onto the pitch and then he started passing to the nearest player. He doesn't do that. It is not. Of course, it is in his locker to pick the best pass, and I think that's one of the reasons why Mikel Arteta signed him. He picks the best pass under pressure, without pressure, in tight spaces, and without tight spaces as well. He picks the right pass. He's so good at possession. He's so good at maintaining possession. And when he came onto the pitch, what we saw, because he came in with Declan Rice, we saw the system that I've always been talking about, him inverting into midfield, just like Alexander Zinchenko, and playing that double pivot with Rice. But of course, what Julian Timber does, and what we saw in that game, is he allows Declan Rice to go further forward. He allows Declan Rice to go a few more steps further forward, and then Timber becomes just single pivot. Like, he's so good at doing that. He's so good at defending large spaces. He's a very, very quick centre back, and he's such a talented player. Like, Zinchenko is good, absolutely good. But Zinchenko comes with experience. Zinchenko is 25, so he has that 3 more year experience. He's played under Pep Guardiola. He's played under Mikel Arteta. He's basically played under some of the best managers when it comes to ball possession. Julian Timber as well, playing under Erik ten Hag at Ajax. It means that you've played with one of the best young managers who love to keep the ball, but Timber is still young nevertheless. So I think Ben White and Timber will be swapping out each other a lot of the time, but of course he also allows Ben White to play in his favorite position, which is right center back. But Julian Timber, keep your eyes on him. He's gonna be a much better player, and he's gonna make Arsenal much better. So in that game, of course, we saw the incredible impact of Declan Rice, shot number 41, the big man stepping onto the pitch. He was marvelous. He was absolutely marvelous. He had a cracker, and I'm still thinking if that cracker was, had gone through to go on target. We never know. You never know. He would have scored his first goal for Arsenal, but he's got those in his locker, and probably we will not miss Granit Xhaka a lot, because one of the things I will miss about Xhaka is that ability to, chip in once in a while with that beauty against Manchester United predominantly. He's scored a few of them, hasn't he? Like, just unleashes that power, from a few yards out of the penalty area. Now, Rice has got that in his locker. We didn't see much of it at West Ham, but of course we did see those dribbles, and we saw them yesterday. We saw them in that game against the Major League Soccer All-Stars. Again, with Declan Rice, we saw something that Xhaka doesn't give us: ability to beat players, ability to beat press with dribbles. Xhaka doesn't dribble. Like, he doesn't have that. Xhaka is a passing monster. He's a passing margin. Like, he's one of the best players in terms of passing accuracy that I've seen play for that Arsenal, play in that Arsenal jersey. He's so good at making sure that the pass goes where he intends it to. Like, I'm not even over exaggerating. But with Declan Rice, of course, you have a passing merchant. He's so good at picking the right pass as well. He's got a very good passing range, like we saw. But the dribbling is something Arsenal will need, because the more he dribbles, it means that Kai Havertz can go further forward, and Martin Odegaard as well can go further forward. Of course, I was a little bit disappointed with the Declan Rice show, but this is what I'm going to tell you, and this is what I'm going to say here. I don't think Declan Rice is your Angel Di Maria signing. I don't think it's your Alexis Sanchez signing. So we are not going to see Alexis Sanchez, right? I don't expect people to set the expectations for Declan Rice, and one of those expectations is entertainment. Entertainment is not what Declan Rice will bring at Arsenal. If you want entertainment, Timber. If you want entertainment, Kai Havertz will be an entertainer. Saka and Martinelli. With Rice, we have signed a cornerstone of ball position. We have signed a cornerstone of ball winning. That is exactly what you want with Declan Rice. I liked his positioning in that game. Literally, making himself available at every chance to receive the ball. Again, he's another player that never hides away from picking up the ball from a teammate and providing support. He's such a huge upgrade to our midfield. You saw the difference between Jorginho and Rice. Jorginho's got the experience, keeps things thinking, and the passes Jorginho picks out to Saka, actually both passes that he picked out to Saka for both goals, the Trossard one and the Gabriel Jesus one, they were incredible. But Rice comes in, stabilizes the midfield, and Major League Soccer All-Stars, their game is over. So I think what Mikel Arteta has to focus on now, and what he has to think about all the time, is how do I make Declan Rice, look like Jorginho? I think he's got everything you want in a defensive midfielder. He's got everything you want in a central defensive midfielder, apart from that killer pass, apart from that pass that no one else is seeing. And Jorginho literally showed us that if you're playing in that role, you have a bigger view, you have a bigger telescope, which gives you a much better view of the pitch. So you've got to pick out those good passes. Next one is Kai Havertz, Timber, and Rice will be wicked next season. Look, Timber at right back, Rice in central midfield, and Kai Havertz in that left 8. They will be wicked next season. We are going to see more goals. We're going to see a lot of creativity. And I think one thing we are going to add to this Arsenal side is ball winning. Rice is a good ball winner, but Kai Havertz is not a bad presser at all. And Timber is one of the best, elite ball-winning centre-backs and right-backs in Europe. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be... I want to see an Arsenal side that behave like Manchester City. Win the ball back quickly and counter on the break very, very quickly as well. That's going to be wicked, because remember, we always keep the ball like for 69% of the time or 71% of the time. So if you have the ball 71% of the time and you can also hurt the opponent on the break, Lord have mercy. I mean, I just pray for all these other clubs, and I don't see how they survive this. I don't see how they survive what is coming. But we blew the Major League Soccer All-Stars out of the water. And when Rooney was asked about, what are your thoughts of the game and what do you learn from this? He says, you don't learn anything from that. It was a complete blow away. What we showcased there was the 3 teams Arsenal have, and we are still comfortable. Like, we showed 3 phases of 3 very good teams, 3 very good lineups, and we were not even done yet. So we brought in Jorginho first. We didn't play Thomas Partey, remember, and then we introduced Rice. We played Ben White and Saliba, and then we introduced Tomiyasu and Timber. We played, Saka. then eventually played Fabio Vieira, then eventually played Martin Odegaard. We did not even play Emil Smith-Rowe. So this Arsenal team has actually matured in terms of squad building and in terms of where we are, where we want to be, and where we are. We've really made a huge step. In terms of maybe the goal scorer, I'm still not yet convinced. Edin Ketia and his company, Balogun and Gabriel Jesus, I'm not yet convinced they are winners. I'm not yet convinced they are the trio that charges to a UCL. I'm not yet convinced that they're a trio that charges to an EPL title. But we shall see about that. And finally, Mikel Arteta now has his squad. I think is cooking, and he can now do his alterations in game and out of game as well. So what we saw in that game, and I think Major League Soccer All-Stars were really under a lot of big problems, is we saw Mikel Arteta change the system like 5 times. So literally you had this usual Arsenal setup with Saliba and Gabriel at centre back, of course Ben White at right back, and Jakub Kiwior at left back. But then in midfield you had that single pivot of Jorginho, Fabio Vieira playing alongside Trossard in those 2 left 8 positions. On the right hand side, we had Saka, Gabriel Jesus on the left, and Edin Ketia down through the middle. So that is the structure of how we played much of the time last season. But then he introduced Julian Timber, he introduced Declan Rice, he introduced, he removed Saka, and then he introduced McInnes as well. So literally that gives you something very different. Timber inverting into midfield, it means that Timber becomes the single pivot, and Declan Rice, who is more like the direct replacement of Jorginho, moves further forward. So literally we're playing with 3 number 8s in that second system, with a number 6 that is actually playing out as starting out as a right back. Difficult stuff. I don't think Rooney was going to ever match that. Now I want to see more of that against Man United tomorrow. I want to see more of that against these boys, the Monacos, the Manchester Cities of this world, and the Barcelonas of this world, because that is where the challenge is. The challenge is Man United next season. The challenge is Barcelona UCL next season. The challenge is going to be probably Monaco. Are Monaco going to make it to the Champions League? I could give them more. I could be giving them more credit than they deserve. But anyway, overall, the performance from the new signings, it was a show from the new signings. Of course, that show from Martin Odegaard. Like, he's good, isn't he? You wonder how he's a £30 million signing, and Madrid would be like, Fiorentino Perez made a mistake here, he will have to pay. He definitely has to pay. Odegaard is such a wonderful player.